Hello, ladies. It's me, Commissar Bane. Welcome to part 2 of how to paint a dirty, nasty, heretical scumbag Nurgle Cultist. Today we're going to be working on painting up the arm bandages, as well as adding a nice little shade to darken the colors and give some depth to our paint jobs. So stay right there, kids, because War Boss Tay will be right back. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, gang, let's get back to work. We're gonna start with the bandages on this guy's arms. I thought they were bandages, but they're actually like belts. So we're gonna use XV88, which is a little bit lighter than Steel Legion Drab. It's very akin to the old snake bite leather. And it's just different enough that it's gonna stand out from this guy's uniform. A nice contrast. It's a little bit more mustardy yellow, and Nurgle is all about the pale yellows, the greens, and the browns, so this is a very nice, I think, contrast to the rest of the uniform. In fact, if you notice all of the Chaos Cultists in the new Chaos Codex, and whenever the White Dwarf or Game Workshop features a whole bunch of Chaos Cultists, like when they were doing the coverage of the new Dark Vengeance set, they mostly kept the colors very similar. Like the Alpha Legion mostly had the same colors, you know, blue with that green highlight, and blacks. So we're kind of doing the same thing. We're keeping mostly the same colors as brown, green, black, and just moving some of it around a little bit. Next we're going to take your, whatever you use for black, either Chaos Black or Abaddon Black. We're going to paint in this guy's eye lenses. I actually learned this from a painting blog dedicated to painting Death Core of Krieg. And that if you paint the lenses a certain color, then they look a little bit more human, and they look a little bit more evil or robotic if you blacken them out. Kind of like the opposite of the Helghast from the Killzone games, maybe. I don't know. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we are going to take some Rune Lord Brass, and we're going to paint the gold, all the gold pieces. So I'm going to start with the auto pistol here. For those of you that have the new Chaos Codex, or have been trolling the boards, as they say, on Warseer and the other tactical sites out there, I'd be very interested in knowing how you would run your Chaos Cultists. I hear some Typhus-enabled Nurgle zombie cultists are the way to go, so I might be doing another tutorial specifically focusing on the Nurgle zombies in the future, but for now, I think this is a good overall color scheme if you want a good Nurgle-like effect. I've also learned, and what I'm trying to do is separate my paint, my water pots, so that I'm not cleaning my brushes in the same water for when I'm painting with metallics as when I'm using the regular layer paints. So that might be something you think about. Also, what I'm going to be doing is painting buckles or things that would also be gold. So for example, like this guy's belt buckle on his uniform could either be gold or silver. I'm going to go with this dark brass color. Give him a little variation. Since he's got so much silver in his auto pistol and his hand weapon. And also the little knife here tucked by his side. Okay, let's see if there's anything else we want to do. We're going to take our lead belcher one more time. And we're going to paint the little buttons on his uniform, as well as the lenses of his gas mask, and the other little metal studs that we see on his uniform. Yeah, it's amazing. I never really noticed because I wasn't really looking at the Dark Vengeance figures, but they really do look like Imperial Guard uniforms if you paint them up a certain way. And I think it's to show that they could be played as like traitor guardsmen or rebel Imperial Guard. If you make a mistake like that with a little Greedo's mask here, then you can just color back in with the back. Okay, so while we're gonna let that dry, we're gonna start on the washes next. So with Nurgle skin, what I like to do is shade with first Rakelin Flesh Shade here. And when you have something like Bugman's Glow or Talarn Flesh Shade, or Cadian Flesh Tone as it is now, then it looks nice and healthy. But when you've got Rakelin Flesh Shade going on over the Rakarth Flesh Tone, then it ends up looking pretty gross and sickly. Which is kind of what we want Nurgle, the god of decay and corruption and entropy. His skin colors are going to be a lot more pale and sickly looking, diseased. He's riddled with infection. Gross. So we're going to let that dry for a second. I'm going to take Agrax Earthshade next, and we are going to use this on pretty much the rest of the model. So starting with the boots up to the trousers. And this is really good for Nurgle because when you use brown to shade green, the effect is a much more dirty, weathered, worn down green rather than using green to shade green. If you use something like Bale Tan Green or Coelia Green Shade, then the green would look less dirty, maybe more I don't know, like it would give it more depth as a green color. When you put Agrax Earthshade, which is brown, onto silver, it ends up looking like dirt, grime, the beginnings of rust, and that's just what we want for all the silver parts. As you can see, once again, the shades really do a lot of your work for you. So we put it here on the weapons. This is really great as well because both of these weapons are going to end up looking really grimy and dirty once they have a little bit of Agrax Earthshade on them. I love this barbed wire wrapped around this pole. Dark Vengeance models, just so amazing. Most of the Chaos models, I think, look really nice for their new release, but it looks like they really went all out with the Dark Vengeance models. Okay, by now, especially if you set it on the side for a while, your XV88 bandages should be dry, so we're also going to be painting them in Agrax Earthshade. And that is pretty much most of the model done. We're going to let that dry, and we're going to come back and do some final highlighting and then wrap this up. But Agrax Earthshade shading with one color definitely is a good trick that you can use, especially if you've got, you know, all 20 of these guys to paint up, or if you're running more than one squad of 20 cultists. Having one shade, this Agrax Earthshade, to color your guys with is a real time saver. You just want to make sure that you don't go too overboard, and that you check to make sure that none of this stuff pools or puddles at the bottom, or else it's going to leave really nasty watermarks later. Okay, so when we come back, we'll give the skin another shade to make it look even more sickly and unhealthy. We'll do some last highlights, verdigris, touch up this little tube thing coming out of his back, finish basing him, and he'll be ready to fight, ready for battle. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one.